All right, so cooperative learning. Notice that in the main, and I'll share the story with you in just a moment, but notice that in the main slide, it has the word collaboration. And you have it on your apron, you have it everywhere. This is a collaborative. And that's very important because when we put a group of students together to work on a particular experiment, yes, it's very important that each person has a responsibility, but what happens when the activity is done and we're ready to reflect? Everybody should be responsible for that reflection. So as they're working and each person is completing their job, still you can't have the person, one of them, the recorder, where I'm not taking notes anymore. I'm not going to pay attention until I'm ready to take notes. Can't happen. Cooperative grouping, working in groups, collaboration, they have to collaborate the whole time. They have to work together and help each other and learn together. All right, so here we go. Not all group learning is cooperative learning, and it's for that reason. Just placing the kids in group is not the answer. You have to go deeper than that. And what cooperative learning and collaborative learning does, it really helps us. Look at these examples that show that not all group learning is cooperative learning. Let's look at one. Groups arguing over conflicts and power struggles. Have you seen that in your classroom? It's so exciting, isn't it? Okay, there's another example. A member sits quietly, too shy to participate. Yeah, you have them in every classroom. One member does the work while the other members talk about other topics, especially TV or video games. Yes? No one does the work because the one who normally works the hardest doesn't want to get stuck with all the work. Happens too. And then nothing gets done. Is this only attributes of kids working together? When I was preparing this is human nature. And that's why this is so important that the children work together, because they have to learn how to deal with the different situations. They're going to face them. And then a more talented member may come up with all the answers, ignoring other group members. That happens too from time to time. So, what's effective cooperation? It does not occur, I'm sorry, I went too fast. It does not occur by chance. It needs to be planned. The kids need to be trained. And that's one of the things that takes at the beginning some time. I'm a lab teacher, so it takes me a couple or 3 weeks to teach, practice, and then during the year, we keep practicing and we keep doing better and learning more. Okay? And it cannot be based on the assumption that all students possess good social and learning skills. Some of these students need to learn this because they haven't learned them anywhere else. So it's our job to show them what's the proper way of working with others, especially difficult team members. It happens. It happens all the time. We have to learn how and teach them how to do it. Now, why is this important? Cooperative and collaborative learning. It works well with the 5E inquiry model that you'll be hearing again and again. We are going to model the 5 E's today in the activity we're going to do after this and in all the labs that we'll do during these 2 weeks, so that you can see this implemented in different ways in physical science. We're going to concentrate in physical science this time. It promotes social development. It assists with classroom discipline. Those of you who do it, would you agree with that? There could be times that things may get out of hand, but again, it's a learning experience. It's a teaching moment. And provides for more than one teacher. So who's the other teacher? The students. How many times have you learned from them? It happens to me all the time in the lab. Amazing things they come up with or that they've experienced. Another reason, industry once said, that industry keeps telling teachers, please teach the students how to get along, how to talk to each other, and how to work together. And it provides a support system for the students. Now, more learning styles. You can reach all those different styles. In the classroom, and higher levels of learning are possible. It's high-level inquiry. Positive interdependence. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. All right. So, students have responsibilities to learn and to ensure that all members of the group learn. They have to work together. And each student makes a unique contribution. Everybody's important because eventually they're going to be accountable for their work. And interdependence occurs when students cannot succeed unless they're working together. That's very important. Let me show you an example. I have a link to this bullet here, where interdependence, working together, is very important for the success. Right here, this is a form I created. Let me give you some background on that. I taught many years, a 3rd and 4th grade. I kept the same kids for 2 years. And I had a chance to practice cooperative group, did it all the time with them. Loved science and math, so I team taught with another teacher. So I would teach 2 groups, science and math, and that's all I taught during the day. And then I was asked to change my teaching life and go to the science lab. Yeah, I followed on her. Yeah, she was the teacher before there. And it is quite a very different experience. Who's going to be a science lab teacher for the first time this next year? Let me tell you, it is exciting, it's cool, but it's you know, you're going to have mixed experiences. Being an ancillary teacher, a specials teacher, I interacted with every single elementary kid. How cool is that? I learned 97% of the names. I still don't know all of them, but I taught 675 kids. Very cool. But getting organized is so important. If you don't have a set of routines, you're going to go crazy. So this is one of the things that arose from that. Let me see if I can make it smaller so you can see. I teach 6 classes per day. Kinder, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And each of these squares represents that group that I'm going to see that day. So I print this daily. I write the name of the teacher on that particular day. And then what I do is the kids know that they get a set-up grade and a clean-up grade. And that's a quick check mark. All I'm doing is observing that everybody has no more than 5 minutes to set up, especially when they have to use goggles and aprons, and you have to train those. You've never lived until you've seen a kindergartner wearing goggles and aprons. It's the cutest thing. But it takes a while. I mean, first time they did it took 15 minutes. I was timing it. And I said, this can't happen. So, again, cooperative grouping helped cut that time. And in kinder, we went down to 4 minutes, which is pretty remarkable for those little ones. And then I do that for everybody. When it's time to clean up, I have this train whistle. That means hands off. And then everybody picks up and they have no more than 5 minutes. If they do, they get 100. It's a check plus. So it's quick, it's fast, and this is your grading. That afternoon before you go home, enter in the computer, done. So it's something that I most certainly can share with you if you're interested in something like this. Okay? Let's see if I can. All right, here we go. Next one. Individual accountability. Yes, the group is important, but each person's job is very important. Let me show you what I do for each student's effort. I have a form too that I use, and it just saved my life. I did this about a month after teaching the lab, and it just saved me because what I do, I already have this form with the kids' names. I just print 1 sheet per day, and all their names are there. And maybe it's too small, but I don't know if you can see those numbers on the side. That means they're table 1. These kids sit on table 2, table 3, table 4, and table 5. I have 5 tables in my room. And what I do is on the side, let me go back up so you see what I mean. I have space for 2 things that I grade them individually that I'm looking for. So that's what this rectangle is. I could be looking for, maybe it's a matter experiment, and I want to see if they understood the model of a solid, liquid, or gas. So I would write solid, liquid, gas. And then I would do that same thing for the fourth grade, whatever concept that I want to grade individually on that day that I'm really looking and asking about, then that's what I do it. And I walk around and the names are already there, so I just have to put a check mark. And my grading system is 95 is a check plus. I don't know if you can see this table on the side right here. Check and check minus. I only give a 70 if they just did the minimum. And you know that there are some kids who are there, but you have to, encourage them. And if there is a child who just didn't want to do the work, they earn a 60. Those are very, very rare because they love science. All right. Now, let me make a disclaimer. Maybe I didn't say at the beginning. I'm just sharing with you the way I do cooperative learning. Please understand that's not the only way. And that's only a compilation of trainings I've been to, trial and error. I've tossed out things that never worked for me, asking mentors, and I just keep the stuff that really works for me and makes my job easier. What else? Teacher must provide feedback. People, that is so important. Quick feedback. The kids need that. Teacher must ensure that every member is responsible for the final outcome. And now we go to the group. This is the part that I can tell you is the hardest thing to do. Students reflect to determine which member actions were helpful and which need work. Coming from a lab, we don't have the time for that. 50 minutes, 5 minutes to set up, 5 minutes to clean up, 40 minutes to do all the 5 E's. I can't do it. So I know Barbara referred to it as doing it in 2 days. Think about it as going through the inquiry learning. Hopefully, if you can do it in 1 day, fabulous. But you think about it of doing it in 2 days. It's okay to do that as long as they reflect. As a teacher, personally, I don't give myself time to reflect, and it's so important because it makes you a better teacher. Students that make decisions about which actions to continue. Kids making decisions, that's very powerful. And then social skills, it helps them. Students must get to know and trust one another. Students must communicate accurately. That's interesting. Students must accept and support each other. They really need to know that there is a language that's not acceptable when they're working in a group. And they cannot use bad words or push or, all those things. They have to practice and learn. And students must resolve conflicts constructively. So, face-to-face interaction. What do we do to maximize success? We keep the group small, no more than 5. There are times, I've had 5th grades that we've had 26 kids, so I have no choice but to have a group with 6, okay? So let me show you an example of what I do to make my life easier. I made this chart, and what I do, I have a binder, and each class, that's what the tables look like in my room. I can only have space for 5. And then the other squares are the chairs. I have 5 chairs on each table. So this is really good, especially at the beginning, because kids for some reason forget where they're supposed to sit. And then they want to argue about that and fight and cry about that. And all I have to do is, come here, let me show you the map. Where's your name? And they learn how to recognize the letters, and they can't argue. And then this binder is what I take with me when we have fire drill. All the names are there. I can do a quick count, make sure that they're with me. And especially for lab teachers, that's hard because you have so many kids, so many groups. So this is very helpful. I have if you're interested, I do have an empty copy that I can share with you. This is what it looks like. And there's one table that has 6. I had no other choice. But if you're interested, I will gladly share that with you. Also, assist students with guidelines. They have to practice, 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 practice. If you see something from the beginning that's not working, you stop and target the whole group and make sure that they practice how to do it correctly. Practice helps. Okay, job descriptions. 5 minutes. Let's see how we can do this. All right. Oh, it didn't. Oh, there it is. I use badges in my classroom. These are the ones that I use. And these are little badges like this. These are my badges. Okay? And I keep them in bags. And each bag says table, or has a big number, table 5. So when the person who has this job, when they come in, they know to look for this basket. First thing they do, they take a bag, take it to their table, and everybody gets their clippy. I call it a clippy, their badge. Okay? I don't do that for them. I don't give them their colors. I don't give them paper. They do their jobs. And your room has to be organized that way so it's easily accessible. But they have to be responsible for their materials. That's part of cooperative grouping. And let me go over the 5 jobs. And I have a chart here that I want to share with you. This chart is in my room up all the time. And the reason is that even if I color code them, notice that maintenance directors are blue and recorder reporters are green. Still, there are kids who forget their responsibilities, and that happens all the time, especially with the little ones. So here on the little clippy, they have what they're supposed to do. Here, in very few words, they can walk up to it, look for the color, and then figure out what they have to do. And for the kinder and first, I have pictures. For example, maintenance director, the blue, do you see that picture that's right next to it? What's that? Goggles. So if it's a day for goggles, they know they come in and go get the bag of goggles for their table, and everybody gets goggles. I don't do that. They do it. And we practice and practice doing that. Principal investigator in the middle. What's one of the things that they need to get if we need them? The aprons. And they're in these little hooks. They take it, gives one to everybody, and picks them up and puts them back at the end. Saves you a whole bunch of time. And material managers gets the materials. These are not only here, but I have them also in different places in the room. Like this chart, which has the red color too, would be at the place where the aprons are. So if they forget, they can find a little drawing in their little color, and it helps them too. Also, the badges. This is what I did. I just printed that 5 times. All right, let me show you this. What I did is I got this at Office Depot. I asked my school to get them for me. And the jobs are there, but also there's a piece of construction paper on the back for the little ones. So if they can't read that or forget, they look at the color, they look at the color, and they look at the color around the room. So they know what they need to do. Make sense? All right, 4 jobs that you have in your pack are principal investigator, the student who makes sure everybody's following, they know what they have to do and they're following the steps, is called the PI, the principal investigator. So it's based on real life. That's why I like these names. And then the recorder reporter takes notes, records. Now remember, everybody's accountable, but this person is in charge as they're working to jot the things down on a table that you may provide them or that they can do. Can you still hear me? Materials managers get the materials, puts them back. Able assistant, I made this one up because some of the other jobs have too much to do. So when I have 5 people, this person helps any of the other jobs. And then we have the maintenance director who's in charge of recycling, cleaning. It's not the person who cleans, it's the person who makes sure everybody cleaned after themselves. Make sense? Right? Job assignments. This saved my life last year, too. And this is not my idea. You have it in your packet. I had this form forever and never used it until this year when I had the lab. And this is what it looks like. This is what I've got. And what I did is I wrote their name, and each student does a job for a whole month. So they get used to that job. So as a matter of fact, they do it first semester for 1 month, and then the second semester they know what to do. And they remember because they've observed their other little ones. And this is what it is. So when they come in, the charts are in here. Guess who does this job? The maintenance director, the blue one, okay? So they come in, they look for their table 5 takes this, and there's one per table. Table 5 takes their chart and they put it on the chart. I use Velcro. And it's right there, and if they get confused, but I need to get the materials. Are you the materials manager? Check and see, and it's all in there. And you do it in August, you prepare it in August, and you use it for a whole semester. Then you go in January, print them again, and you use it for the whole semester. Not a lot of work. At the beginning, it looks like it, but I've saved these files, so I just have to change names around. Okay? All right. And then what else do we have? I have this form available if you're interested too. And sometimes, for the younger kids, big mistake I made. Changing jobs every month for a kindergartner, it doesn't work because they forget. So what I did is I kept the same job for a whole semester. So notice that I included the colors because it's all about the colors with the little ones, okay? And learning how to read their name, and then the color, knowing what they have to do with the pictures, and it saves you lots of time, okay? And sometimes it's unavoidable. You'll have 6 students. So what I do in that case is I divide recorder and reporter. It's 2 different people. So one records, one reports. That's what it looks like for 6 people. And I made a new badge. Notice that I separated the recorder and reporter. So that doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
And that's if you have 6.
If you have 6, as a matter of fact, there are people who like to have 4 tables of 6 people. It's whatever works for you, whatever works the best. And that's all I've got. So that's a synopsis of what I do in my classroom to make my life much easier so I can end up with a smile instead of crying. Like sometimes it still happens, but it's okay. It's part of the learning experience. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.